I know it's way too early, and training camp starts in about 6 weeks, and we just finished mandatory minicamp. But we're going to turn our attention to the battles you can't wait to see for the upcoming training camp, which starts end of July.
So I mentioned one of them. It's defensive tackle. I mentioned that group a little earlier, and I think that's going to be a really interesting battle. Malik Jackson, I think you can write him in as a starter. I think he's a guy that can give you what Sheldon Richardson gave you and maybe more, especially now that he's healthy. What's really interesting is Tommy Togiai. What's he going to do? I think, just getting eyes on him in minicamp and seeing him move and seeing how athletic he was. You don't get to see these guys go up against offensive linemen. You don't get to see one-on-ones. You don't get to see contact. They aren't allowed to do that in the spring. But I think Togiai is going to handle that stuff just fine. We saw how he did at Ohio State. And I think he's going to push for playing time in that defensive tackle room. And then the other one, we all know about the cornerback battle, but one of the under-the-radar ones is maybe that third receiver who's going to step in. I feel like we talk about this every year. Rashard Higgins, obviously in that mix, but Donovan Peoples-Jones was really impressive, I thought, when we saw him. They love Kadero Hodge. He won that job last year out of training camp before he got hurt in the Dallas game. So I think that's going to be a really good battle for that number 3 receiver job. And Anthony Schwartz is in the mix now, too.
Again, you touched on the cornerback battle, and that's going to be opposite Denzel Ward. How legitimate of a chance do you think Greg Newsome has? And is it dependent on Greedy Williams? He's still banged up, on him potentially being limited through training camp.
I mean, that's a huge piece of it. If Greedy can't get out there and play and show what he can do, then that's going to be a big advantage for Greg Newsome. And I think Newsome is going to have the ability to really shine in training camp. He's got all of those athletic tools. He moves really well. I think he's going to make plays that are, whatever the fans look like in attendance at training camp, they're going to ooh and ah at what they see him do. I think he's got that ability. He'll be able to shine in preseason games. I think it'll come down to, like you mentioned, Greedy's health. And it may come down to, do you want to throw a rookie out there against Kansas City week 1 and just throw him into the fire like that? Or do you want to bring him along slowly? But I really do believe Greg Newsome can win that job.
The flip side of it is his athletic ability. You can see that.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is I think they feel like they can play him inside. They kind of experimented with it a little bit this spring. Now, they signed Troy Hill to be their nickel, and I think that's going to be Troy Hill's job regardless. But the idea of maybe being able to move Greg Newsome inside so you could have Greedy and Denzel on the outside in certain situations is really interesting. He's got the ability, I think, the athletic ability to do it. He just didn't do it a lot at Northwestern. So I think it's something the Browns will experiment with.